You have not done your research. I want it to be like an angel or a mermaid.
Do you feel awkward?
I need pantyhose.
How do you feel about blah, 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 blah? This is the red carpet treatment brought to you by the BRIT Awards with MasterCard. Bonjour et bienvenue to today's guest, who may have no idea what I just said because she famously doesn't speak French. It's BRIT Award winner Nicola Roberts.
Hi.
Can you actually not speak French?
No, I can't, unfortunately.
At all?
No, we did record that song in French, and we had a French lady very meticulously dictating to us the lyrics, and it was very tedious and annoying.
You also are a fan of croissants.
To my defense, I have a sugar problem.
Right.
I have something called hyperglycemia.
Okay.
And though I have eaten like an hour ago, I just had to have something quick.
Your sugar's dropped?
Yeah.
So you had to hit the croissants?
I just had to hit that quick, and then we can remove it in a minute.
If I eat too many croissants, I just...
Can't stop.
Yeah, start speaking fluent French. J'habite dans la maison.
Bonsoir.
J'adore le fromage.
Ooh.
Do you know what that means?
I adore cheese.
You said you don't speak French. If you had to redo your winning Brit moment in French, what would you say? Because clearly you know it now.
Isn't there a swear word that's like...
What's that?
Means like... Sarah goes up and she's like, "It's about time!" And we're all like, "Oh my God."
Yo, that's real.
Yeah.
That's iconic.
It was, but at the time we were like, "Oh my God, we're on live TV."
You have got a Brit Award, clearly.
I do.
Where'd you keep it?
Mine is just the standard silver, pre all of these fancy ones.
Oh.
So I've got like
Boring.
Solid metal one. Well, I like to think of it as classic.
Sorry, classic. Vintage.
Yeah.
Antique.
It's just on the shelf in the living room.
Chilling.
Next to my little Mass Singer one.
Of course. Victorious on multiple occasions. Mad. Would you keep it in the toilet?
I would never disrespect my Brit Award by keeping it in the toilet.
You think it's disrespectful?
Yeah. Do you know how many like disgusting particles fly around in the bathroom? To have to clean it every day. How many times have you been nominated for a Brit?
None. That hurt. That hurt. Wait. Girls Aloud were massive. At one point, the biggest selling girl group of the 21st century, which is pretty wild.
It's nice.
Proud of that. Mm-hmm. But what's your weirdest memory from those days?
Like, it just is weird, no?
Yeah.
Like, it is quite far-fetched when you think about it. Like just 5 very, like, normal girls with no musical background just somehow managed to, like, go to the moon together.
Yeah.
Strange.
Is there anything from that audition process that sticks with you?
I just remember Jerry being so supportive. Like, she really championed me, which was crazy because I was a massive Spice Girls fan and she was my favorite. So then, like, only a few years later, at 16, to be like supported and championed on by like your child idol was like,
wild.
This is actually insane.
Do you remember what you sung in the first audition?
I sang Shakira's Underneath Your Clothes. But when I was little, I used to sing all things
Underneath your clothes,
yeah, but
there's
I
an
used to
endless
sing
story.
Whitney Houston and Celine Dion and all those. But I was like, how can I make it like relative to the younger chart? So I think that was on the radio at the time and I sang that.
It's a good song, that.
It still makes me feel weird, like, if I hear it randomly, because it's not a song that occurs all the time. Like, it's not always on the radio. It's just like, you know, it's quite niche, isn't it? So when I hear it, I'm like, wow.
Radio
song
2,
literally changed my
Magic,
life.
maybe Magic FM. Are you still songwriting though?
Yeah, no, I am, but like my vibe, because I was songwriting for other artists for a long time.
Yeah, right.
And I just got sick to death of like pitching songs and then them being like, yeah, but can it sound a bit more like this one on the radio or this one? And it's like, you understand that a track has to be able to follow a certain trend on radio, whether it's like tempo,
Yeah.
pitch, whatever it is, vibe. That you can't just come with something completely random and creative, because radio will be like, well, what do I follow this with?
I know.
Like, what track do I play after this? Like, I can't, this is not in the trend. So then you can't really be creative as a songwriter because you're just trying to fit into a box that's not necessarily aligning with your creative authenticity.
Yeah.
And it literally got to the point where I went into my publisher and was like, just don't put me in any more sessions anymore. I'm just really, this is like making me unhappy and depressed.
Who have you written for? as a songwriter?
Professor Green, Emily Bizzle,
Yeah.
Jade for Little Mix, Tinashe, Cheryl, dance tracks. I did some stuff for Rita, Iggy Azalea. Like someone tweeted me the other day and was like, well, I had no idea that you wrote this. And I was like, oh God, neither did I. And then I re-listened back and I was like, yeah, I wrote that.
You, Cheryl, and Nadine met up for a 5K run, Race for Life last year in memory of Sarah.
Yeah.
Shout out Sarah. Do you think losing her has brought you girls closer together?
Yeah, definitely. I think that like what we went through as a 5 was massive in itself, and that like bonds you in ways that like situations that where even like with your own siblings, like you don't ever really get that 24/7 like life flips on its head kind of situation. But then to go through something where you lose part of you is just on a completely different scale.
Yeah.
Life is so fragile.
Yeah.
And it's fragile for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. And it's a very real realization, like a real thought. It's like it's a reality that is like sharp.
Are there any memories of Sarah?
Just like even going back to like that BRITs moment, like how like vivacious and full of life. Talking about like authenticity, Sarah very much was authentic in who she was. Like didn't try to be anyone else, never tried to tone herself down, wasn't even aware of the fact that she should maybe do that in certain settings. Like she was fully who she was all the time.
Yeah.
And that in itself is an achievement, because so often we're like shaped in a certain way, or if you're a sensitive person, like you pick up on like little social nuances that you probably shouldn't say this, probably shouldn't do that. She was fully who she was all the time. And for that, like I always admired her for that.
Your solo album Cinderella's Eyes was released in 2011 to critical acclaim. It felt like it was a different direction at the time. People maybe weren't expecting that from you. Did you feel that?
I think at that time I'd just done 8 or 9 years or something like that with the girls.
Yeah.
And when you've then been in the public for that amount of time and you're maybe pushed in a certain way and you have all these like post-it notes that like have been like stuck on you that you've never put there. Oh, she's this, she's that.
Yeah.
She listens to
Oh my
this.
God.
This is what you're going to sing. This is
100%.
how you're going to... And before you know it, you're just like covered in things that you didn't say you were.
Yeah.
And so I think Cinderella's Eyes
mate.
for me was like, how do I literally blow all of them off?
Yeah.
And just shock, really.
Diplo produced your first single.
You know what happened is that I sampled Pond the Floor in like the August when I wrote it. And then when the label came to register it in the February, he was like, I'm so sorry, but Beyonce's literally just sampled the song about a month ago. And I was like, oh my God, now I have no song. So then I called him and just said, please, I need your help. Can you just recreate something that sounds like it? Because if you don't, then I have to go with another song, and this is the one we want to go with. And so he did, very kindly did. And he sent it back to me, and I was happy, and that's how it was born. Not gonna lie though, every time I hear Beyonce's Run the World, there's this very tiny bit of me that's like...
Yeah. Is it true that you had a spat with Madonna in 2011?
I'm now gonna get wild Madonna hate, Madonna fans hate.
Yeah, probably.
My A&R had been in New York within Madonna's camp.
Right.
And they said to her, without realizing that I was her artist, that they took inspiration from Beat of My Drum for one of her songs. And then my A&R, Ola, was like, oh my God, she's my artist. Like, she's on A&M in England.
So she nicked your shit?
I don't know about...
That's unusual because she's famed for not stealing anything.
I didn't say she stole. I'm just telling you what...
I don't know Madonna. I don't know her. Masked Singer. You only went and won it.
Yeah?
A couple of things. Did you get to choose your costume?
No, I didn't actually.
Okay.
I wanted to be like an angel or a mermaid or something. And they were like, no, you're going to be Queen Bee. The mask originally was quite scary looking.
Right.
And they had to like soften the face because when they took the mask out and presented it to the crew, they were all like, whoa.
Whoa.
They were like, ugh.
Bee nightmares.
So they had to like soften it a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like I said yes to doing it. And then I had my first costume fitting.
Yeah.
And I just looked at my manager and was like, I don't know if we've made the right decision here.
Really?
Like, this is a bit wild. Would you do that show? You should do it.
I've been asked to do it more than once.
And you don't want to do it.
I don't know, man.
It's no big deal, honestly, and it's so much fun, and the crew are brilliant.
You're filming it like 3 months before it's out. So
yeah,
did
we
you
filmed that in the September and it aired in the January.
Yeah, so did you tell anyone? Did anyone know?
I'd literally forgot.
What do you mean you
I was
forgot?
like, because I did like 3-4 weeks on this thing, and then it was like over. Can't tell any of your friends or family that you've won this thing. They don't know that you've even done it. And then Christmas happens, and then you just sort of like forget, and then it comes on, and you're like, oh yeah, I did that. It was the most anticlimax winning experience you can imagine.
You should do the advert for the next one. It sounds thrilling. You should be like, how did it feel? And you'll be like, it was the most anticlimactic thing I've ever experienced.
Maybe you're doing it.
I'm not doing.
Maybe you are. Did you watch me on it? Have you watched me on it at all?
I've seen a clip of you on it.
What clip?
I don't know, you singing a song? What do you mean, what clip?
My winning clip?
Yeah, because you sang.
What? You
So you
have
did-
not done your research on your
What are you talking about
on your
research?
person today.
I've seen it.
All right.
I saw all of it. You were a great mermaid. Is it hot? Are you hot?
Unexperienced presenter here, guys, FYI.
Do you feel awkward?
I'm too old these days to feel awkward. I'm just like, this is it.
Yeah. I feel like I just got all the shame and embarrassment out in my teens and then just doubled it in my 20s. I'm actually so lucky that TikTok and Insta stories weren't around when I was famous, because my career would have halved, man.
Even some of the things I put on Insta stories like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Why?
You've attended the Brit Awards a bunch of times. Can you describe it in 3 words?
Well, 5 girls getting ready
You actually
to
done it.
either attend or perform is like chaotic, quite nerve-wracking, frantic, a lot of like makeup and underwear and dresses and seamstresses, and yeah, it's not just like slip on a gown and turn up.
What's the maddest thing you've seen at the Brits?
Lady Gaga came running into our dressing room screaming like, I need pantyhose. I need tights and I need this. And we were like, take whatever you want.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's like ripped her tights or needed tights.
Right.
And then weirdly, I then interviewed her a few years later after that. Completely out of my depth, not a presenter, unlike you.
Oh, of course. You did your research.
I was like, with my cue cards, like, if you could do anything for the day, what would you do?
It's a good question. If you could do anything for the day, what would you do?
And she'd be like, die.
When you got up on stage to collect your Brit, Sarah grabs it, says it's about time, and then what else does she say?
I don't know. I was just like, ah.
She said, it's about time. I think I just wet myself.
Oh, did she? I'm surprised she didn't say, it's about time, you mother...
Here's a scenario. What would you do? Nicola,
This is my favorite podcast I've ever done. It's like I'm really trying to hold this smile in.
we're just bantering.
Yeah.
You go to sing The Promise at the Brits, but you realise that other girls are only singing in French. What do you do?
I'd stop singing and just like find my camera and be like,
Do you have any performance memories that were just like forgotten the words or...
sometimes I, with my little sugar condition, might blank out a little bit and forget the lyrics. And I just look at Kimberly and be like, it's happening. I'm not worried about notes or anything like that. But lyrics is like, I can rely on this. I can't always rely on this.
Nicola, it's been an absolute pleasure. You're a legend, Lil Cola.
That's not how I thought it was going to go. I feel like I've been like spiteful with my banter.
You haven't been spiteful. You need to
I
not
called you
worry
a
about
rubbish
that.
presenter.
That's my favourite bit. Thank you for being here. Nicola.
Thank you for having me.
Lil Cola. Coming up next week on the red carpet treatment is Olivia Dean.
I feel like I'm going to expose myself now. Musical theatre gave me my voice. Here's everything I've ever knitted.
That's a phenomenal answer.